Well, hey friends, welcome back. We're gonna do a little April garden tour. I think we're just gonna do the front garden because, as you know, the cut flower garden is kind of in renovations and most of you are caught up on that. But I have spent the last 3 hours in my garden and it has been glorious. It's that time of year where us in the landscape industry are working so much that oftentimes our own gardens kind of fall to the wayside. And so to take that time has been just so super blissful. And so I want to take you around and I want to show you just like the really yummy things that are coming out, because this is a very luscious time of year when we are preparing for May, which, if you've never heard me say it, May is considered, in my opinion, Mother Nature's Fashion Week. To start us off, I want to show you a few little things that I overwintered because they are gorgeous. First of all, look at these carrots. I'm going to bring you in close on this one. This is the Tanda de Parigi. I hope I'm saying that right. Okay, the Tanda de Parigi is like this fat little nugget of a carrot. It is so cute. It is so delectable. And it was perfection. I have already eaten one, just sprayed it off and down the hatch. They are delicious. They are sweet. They're that like mild carrot flavor. And unlike some carrots that get a bit of like, it's not quite a spice to it, but it has that certain like bite to it that's almost borderline bitter, which actually I kind of enjoy. These have none of it. They are just like delectable and delicious. So these are going inside and my boys will probably eat these before dinner, but they are fabulous. Okay, I also have to show you this. This is the last of my leeks. I had an awesome leek year. I even threw in like a ton of oregano. I am actually going to be making one of my favorite springtime recipes. It's actually a spring risotto, and it is literally just like one of my favorites. I will also probably making a potato leek soup. I kind of prefer the traditional Julia Child's recipe. I've made Julia's, I've made Ina's. Both are great, but Julia's is just so simple and so clean. I love it. I should see if I can find that risotto recipe. I think it was a Martha Stewart one, but it's like everything that is like fresh coming out of the garden at this time of year. It's sweet peas. It is leeks. It is a little bit of, I think, shallot, and then tons of fresh herbs. And I love it. And you can serve it with any protein and it is just like the best of the best. So if I can find it, I will link it below because it is really that good. And I look forward to doing that every single spring and my boys love it. And speaking of Martha Stewart, for those of you who commented on the rose that I received, it was actually the Martha Stewart rose. And I want to give you an update on that because okay, she's actually not looking like the best. I was going to be all optimistic. I was like, it's great. She still looks a little ratty, but we're getting there. Like, it's going to happen. I have faith. And I haven't reached out to the company yet. You know, I really hate conflict. I don't like being a downer on anybody. But I really, honestly, if I was running that company, I would want to know how my product was shipping out. So you are going to be my accountability partners. I'm going to go ahead and send that email tomorrow. I'm going to get brave. I'm going to let them know because I love supporting small businesses, but we all make mistakes. So, okay, let me bring you in close and I will update you on my sweet little Martha Stewart. Okay, so some of this foliage you can see is still just like completely pathetic, but it is pushing out a little bit of new growth here and a tiny bit of new growth here. It remains to be seen. I think, honestly, I'm in for like a 1 year, I guess, coming back to center on this rose. What you can kind of see here is it started to push out new growth when it was shipping. And so my branches have like curvature here. And even right here, do you see how that's curved this way? I did kind of have half a mind to come in here with a little bit of a stake to see if I could straighten her out. because it is still really soft and pliable. So, you know, maybe I will actually do that because this one is curved in this way as well. So it's not the best. I think we're just on a really slow boat back to a glorious shape. Also, this is such a great reminder if you're shopping for roses. I recently did some rose shopping for a client of mine, and not all roses are pruned well. So you're gonna look for your basics. I look for a vase shape, right? So we're thinking like a nice open V. I wanna be able to put my hand down the middle, so like an open center, some nice like strong outward branching, because I don't like a 5-car pileup on the freeway right in the middle. And then I'm looking for healthy green canes and really good, like everything pruned to like an outward facing bud, which this is kind of like everything is pruned to the back. So this is not a rose I would have picked for myself. That's kind of what happens when you get shipped roses. You don't get to make that decision. If you go to your nursery, then you have like dealer's choice, which is so wonderful. So I was up at Sky Nursery here just north of Seattle this past week, and they still had beautiful selections available. Bauman's had some really killer stuff down in Oregon as well. So even though we're kind of getting out of that bare root season, there are still some goodies to be had at your local garden centers. Okay, let's go to the front border. Would you look at this tulip and daffodil display? I am so tickled with this combination. I'm going to bring you in close because this has been a real winner for me. So the mix that we have going on here is I've got a real classic shape. This is a tulip called Triumph Continental, and it is just deep and yummy and so, so, so beautiful. This is a gorgeous one. The Triumph series, by the by, is actually a very good series if you want to try your hand at forcing, which I always say, like, this is like the art and science, maybe, of forcing. I mean, you're playing with Mother Nature, but the Triumph series is notably one of the easier ones to force. Next, we added in a tulip called Slawa. And the reason I chose this tulip, and by the way, I will link the video where I talk about bulbs down below, because I think it's a really good one. And it's, for me, I just put a lot of heart and soul into that one. And so it's a fun one to watch. What you're going to notice I'm doing here we go. Triumph Continental, classic tulip shape, classic tulip profile. We go over here to Slawa. Now, Slawa is a slightly different petal shape. It's a bit more pointy. It's a bit more upright. And it has this gorgeous, gorgeous orange edge. And it's this color right here, almost like it almost is like a sort of flare, if you will. And this is the same color as the Triumph Continental. The other thing is, would you check out the edge of those petals? It has the most subtle, adorable ruffle, and I am obsessed. And they are playing beautifully together. So Triumph Continental, Slawa, and then over here we are coming to my Narcissus choice. This is one that actually I use a lot in container arrangements because it just performs so reliably. It doesn't fall over. For a Narcissus, for a daffodil to be this upright, I mean, this sucker is probably 20 inches tall. And what's really cool is, like, look how many. This one has 4 blossoms on it. This one has 4. And then in the back, oh my gosh, we've got more. Oh my gosh, we've got a rando. Okay, well, that is about the cutest surprise I've ever seen. This is not a geranium. That is really dang cool. Still love it. And then look down here. It's still sending up more buds. And so we've had this incredible display of daffodils going on for weeks now. And I do mean weeks. And so you get a lot of longevity out of the geranium daffodil. It's just, it continues to be one of my favorites and just an incredible performer. The other thing that you'll see coming through here is we've got sedums coming up. This is my Origeron Profusion is the name of this little guy. And I don't know if you can see this, but this is just all little tiny buds coming up. We also have my little bunny tails grass here that has been, this is Pennisetum Little Bunny, and I've pruned this back. And one thing you're gonna notice that I do a lot, and I speak about this when designing a garden for all seasons, is that you really need to create companions between your bulbs and your perennials, because the foliage on your bulbs is not always going to look the best. And so you have to find like sweet little pairings so that as the bulb foliage dies back, your perennials are coming online. And it's that beautiful song and dance that you need in a garden where one thing is coming on and the other thing is fading into the background. Okay, can we just also, let's just look at this pair here. I mean, hello. It is so gorgeous. And what I love is that this is super like deep and dark and moody. And then you have like, bam, gorgeous geranium narcissus behind it. And so it creates this like, just this tension of like a serious tulip display with like the happiness of this daff. I mean, look at this situation. It is so freaking cute. And so I am tickled beyond words with how this turned out. And I do have to show you, coming over here, I have one mystery. Is that so funny? I have no idea what this is going to do, but I can tell you right now, that is not a Triumph Continental, and it is certainly not a Slough tulip. So we've got a mystery. We got a mystery in the bunch, but look at this. Gorgeous blooms, and I've got even more on the horizon. So if you're looking for a really long bloomer, I really can't recommend the Narcissus geranium enough. It is just a performer, beautiful in the landscape, beautiful in a container. Okay, I'm taking you down low for this one because I have some little free violas that have seeded themselves along the front of my step. Here's what I love about this. I love it when Mother Nature just decides to play her hand. And for me, sometimes when I see those flowers growing in between cracks, either in my garden, in a city sidewalk, it's like an act of resistance. Mother Nature like breaking through all of this man-made structure. And so for me, I'm gonna leave them because I think they are adorable. And they're just such a great reminder that like, yeah, I think I'm in charge, but I'm not really in charge. I'm just playing with the magic of what is. I want to give you a little container update right now. My containers, admittedly, I wish they looked a little bit better. I'm gonna be real honest about that. I think I've got some sort of like mealy bug that keeps eating all of my violas and pansies, and I'm not too thrilled about it. So I'm gonna bust out the insecticidal soap and give it a little bit of a treatment. But every time I come back, all of the petals are just like munched on. And I know I don't have thrips. I know I don't have a lot of other things that might do that, and aphids don't cause that kind of damage. I think it's a mealy bug. However, the texture is still great. And I did these containers with Jose, and Jose is just like, he's so much fun. He's so open to like any experience that you have to offer him. And it was so fun to have a friend in my garden. And I think I didn't realize the beauty of that experience of sharing space with someone and also creating together side by side with someone. It's just a really fun one. I would love to see us form like adult garden clubs. You know what I mean? Where like all of us get together and maybe we go from like house to house, and each garden club member gets like their one day a month where we all descend on the garden and just make beautiful things happen and have that just companionship and friendship. I don't know. These are my dreams. These are my dreams. I feel like if I could have an army of you out there creating Hello Garden clubs, that would be so much. That would be so fun. That would be incredible. Okay, I'm putting it on the vision board. Okay, friends, here they are. Okay, I am loving all of these florals. And as you can see, I actually did something that is a little out of character for me. I don't usually play with kind of these deeper red tones in containers, but I'm loving it. I mean, this giant blousey pansy is adorable. We have this viola. It's called Deltini. And do you see how like all these little petals are munched on? I gotta treat it to see if I can get on top of that. But then also look at this like mottled petal. Isn't that so beautiful? And you get equal parts like warm tones, like reds and yellows. And then you get these soft, cool pinky tones that are very antique. So good. And then a baby lemon yellow viola, gorgeous grasses. And then this is a little origeron. It is a wallflower. And what I love about this and what I love about using them in containers is you get a lot of range. So I can keep pinching this thing back all day, every day. I can put it out in the landscape. I mean, it just keeps going. Now, another new plant to me that I'm really enjoying is this guy. This is a heuchera, and it is called Peach Flambe. And it is sending out the most gorgeous little bloom stalks. And so I really can't wait to see what it does. What's really fun is like the new foliage is really vibrant. I was playing with like this reddy orange, but then look how deep and dark the older foliage is. That is like crazy dramatic. I'm just loving this. I'm super excited to play with this combination. So if you want to see how I created these, I will also link that video below. Another bulb that I really wanted to play with this year was one that I only planted a few of last year. And so I planted a ton more. This is an Allium bulgaricum, and I will pop a picture of it up on the screen, but it is just covered in gorgeous little droopy flower heads. And it's so fun dancing amid grasses. It's super fun in the perennial border. You can see I have a bunch down there next to my Mexican feathergrass. And then of course, popping up, I've got the lady's mantle. I have a little bit of So White Gara that's just coming up. And then my Sedum Autumn Joy looking so delicious. I mean, it is looking so good right now. And then as we come back here, look at this giant, giant tower of salvia. This is Salvia caradona. I play with a lot of new things, and then I play with a lot of classics. I'm someone who enjoys a classic. I enjoy new things. For me, I'm always like 80% tried and true, 20% new adventure. And so for me, this Salvia caradona, what I love about it is it brings in this kind of like deeper rock and roll stem that I really love. And then even as the bloom comes up, it has like a depth of color that's really, really striking. And it's also very, very tall. So in a mixed border, this is pretty sensational. One change that I'm kind of contemplating is actually this cutie. Now, I love a Sedum Autumn Joy. However, I am kind of interested in maybe pulling in some deeper, darker sedums because I feel like I'm pretty green on green here. And I think I want a little bit more drama in this front border. So my Sedum Autumn Joys, they may find a new home just so I get a bit more depth of color out here because I'm missing, you guys, I'm missing some drama. Okay, speaking of drama, would you look at this beauty? This is literally a beauty. This is Beauty of Moscow. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous traditional lilac, botanical name Syringa. But I'm going to bring you in close here because what's so unique about the Beauty of Moscow is it has a very smoky, smoky pink bud. And then this one, gosh, we aren't open just yet. Oh, I've got just my first one open here. Okay, there's my first one open right there. It almost appears pure white here on the camera, but I'm telling you, there is just like the barely there kiss of rose. And it's a smoky rose. It is not a vibrant rose. Oh my gosh, how about this for a borrowed view right up there? Gorgeous, gorgeous, blossoming cherry. This is such a fun, happy corner. And by the way, I am a big fan of gardens having nostalgia. And for me, a lilac just brings that nostalgia that I feel like all gardens need. And then also it helps when you get gifts like this beautiful lilac from your partner. This was a gift from Mother's Day a couple of years ago, and Really, really cherish this in my garden. You know, one thing I do from a design perspective that I don't know if I've shared here before is this concept of triangulation. And so when I'm working with a color or when I'm working with a plant, like maybe it's a hydrangea or maybe it's a lilac, I like to triangulate my design. So that means that I'm going to have the eye drawn throughout the landscape, oftentimes in 3 places. And so I've done that here. I've actually anchored both corners of my garden with lilac, and then I've put another lilac right by our front window here. So anchor spot number 1, anchor spot number 2, anchor spot number 3. The Beauty of Moscow typically blooms first, and then my white one, which is actually a beautiful, it was actually a little sucker from my mom and dad's white lilac, and it's now growing into a gorgeous little tree. It's still very tiny, but I'll take you over there and show it next. But then I also have a third lilac, and that one's called Miss Kim. Miss Kim was actually a rescue. She was going to be tossed out, and I had a really hard time with that. And so I brought her home, and I want to show you how adorable she is. Here is Miss Kim. Now, Miss Kim is a Korean lilac, and she is adorable. And she is going to throw much tighter little tiny buds. So it's a very different shape of flower, still incredibly scented, a deeper purple. And so really my early spring palette for the dining patio is a lot of these like purpley pinky moments. And then right down here, I feel like I've actually waited so long for my GM to start up, but oh man, there she goes. I cannot remember the name of this gem, but good gravy. It is so cute, and it's very much that smoky pink. Do you see how antique-y that is? I feel like it's coming through a little bit more orange on camera, but it is like a beautiful, beautiful rose. And so I have a little trio of them here, and all of them are starting to bud and getting ready for their show. And by the way, all of the roses that I went super hard on, every year I kind of freak out a little bit and I'm like, oh my gosh, is this year that I did it and I went too hard pruning my roses? No, they're so stinking happy and they're just ready to rock and roll. The other thing is my irises. Now, irises are one of those things that I have avoided planting because I feel like they take so long to get going. However, I did bite the bullet this past year. I think this one is Thunderbird, and then I have Downtown Brown and a couple others in the front border, but look at that blade. Woof! She is looking so good and so ready to go. And here we go. Here's my promise for authenticity. A nice little trio of weeds that I got to get out. Like, actually, I'm going to get this shotweed right now. Everything is kind of coming up here. My golden fever few is self-seeding like I knew it would. I've got a mystery deep blue foliage to this sedum. I mean, she is so gorgeous. I just wish I knew what variety that was. It was just an awesome purchase. And then, of course, you guys know, I feel like if I had a spirit plant, it might be the lady's mantle. And we are about ready to just have an awesome, awesome showing. Oh, and if you're new here, hello, lovely to meet you. And also, yeah, I have silver in my garden. It's just like, it's actually a nod back to my very first flower and garden show I did several years ago. That was called Dinner Interrupted. And I just did a lot of whimsical stuff like this. I think it's kind of fun that I have silver in the garden. I don't know. It's just that little bit of kitsch that keeps a garden from looking too serious, because I really feel like we all could benefit from remembering to keep things light. And by the way, just for good measure, this is the white lilac that was a sucker off of my parents' tree. And it is probably about 4.5 feet tall now. And this is usually the last one to bloom, but it smells so good. And I have no idea what variety this is. I would love to take it to someone who could like properly ID it, but I just call it my mom and dad's lilac, and it usually blooms for Mother's Day. that's usually, so I've got a couple more weeks until this guy is up and running, but this is usually my Mother's Day lilac. So I'm working on getting this bed ready for kind of my veggie season. Of course, I always have strawberries scattered about. I love an alpine strawberry. I find them to be just the most incredible producers. And then over here, I've got a bunch of new babies planted out. This one is a purple kohlrabi. If you've never grown kohlrabi, it is adorable and kind of tastes like a sweeter broccoli stem is how I might describe it, but it'll get like a really awesome bulb that's actually above ground. So part of the brassica family, super duper cool, really love it. And so I've got a whole bunch of them growing here. I have them spaced about 6 inches apart. One of the really fun things about using drip tape is we have chosen ones that have emitters every 6 inches. And so it actually makes planting out your vegetables and flowers so easy. Next, over here, we have sweet peas that we're just going to grow up on this metal sort of obelisk structure right here. I love it. So this variety over here is an Oregon snow pea. And then next to it, I've got a bunch of little baby lettuces going on. They are so cute. And I always just use a mesclun mix from Botanical Interests. It's just like a nice basic one. And I'm not a lettuce connoisseur. That's not my jam. I just want something yummy and delectable. And I pick these loose leaves as I go. I'm never really going for like a full head of lettuce. I like these because I can just pick what I need and let the rest go. And then back here, I've got another little simple trellis structure. And this one is going to be growing Cascade sugar snap peas. So just another great one. I've grown Cascade for years. I've grown Sugar Daddy. They're all so, so wonderful. I typically don't do a shelling pea, but these have grown for years and they are incredibly, incredibly prolific for me in my garden. Oh my gosh. Okay. The late day sun coming through the side yard is totally glorious. I want to show you my wisteria. As someone commented in a video not too long ago that they were asking about an update on my wisteria and how it was blooming. We have not gotten to wisteria blooming season, but I'm going to show you my handiwork and what it looks like. And you can also see kind of like the buds and the leaves developing on them. And so it's looking so good. I really went for it on this plant. It needed it. This took days. And I am talking days. So this is one of those plants where if you're going to plant a wisteria, like you also need to think about the fact that you're going to be investing weeks of your life, probably months of your life, pruning this darn thing. Okay, so here we are. And would you look at how absolutely gorgeous this is? And now what's amazing about doing a pruning job like this, like I can see right here, that one I missed. So I'm going to come back in and I'm going to cut that one off completely. But then look at this. Holy cannoli. I mean, that is like perfection in terms of blooms coming out. It is going to be so, so good. And then over here on my neighbor's arbor, the vine that actually stretched all the way across her arbor, it was completely dead. And so I'm retraining this little cane here, and that will zip all the way over the arbor eventually. It's not a super big gated entry, but look at this. That is going to be so perfect. And I really went hard. And you can see also what it's doing is it's pushing out more growth further down the vine. And so this is kind of what you want to see. You don't want to see a big lanky thing. You want to see it pretty compact and just lovely, ready to go. You guys, I am laughing because look at this display. This thing is so crazy awesome. And here's what I love. It has been going and going and going for months. And I do mean months. And the thing of it is the way that I've done this bulb lasagna, it actually never had a moment of downtime. Because what I've done here, and this is like the absolute key to upgrading your bulb lasagna game, is you got to throw in some pansies, throw in some grassy texture, throw in some violas. Look at this little schneekoof. Erica, it is so cute. It is so cute. And what's funny is like this was like this baby pink and now it's faded out. But look at this adorable new growth. So this has been peak enjoyment for darn near, I don't know, it's going on 4 months, quite frankly. The elements, let me walk you through it real quick. This cutie is white lion. Oh my gosh. And can we just have a moment for this late day sun that is giving it quite the glamour shot right now? And then next to it, this is a little narcissus called Jonquilla Pueblo. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but this fades out to this creamy white. And would you look at that? I love that we're getting so much depth of texture. You've got a big frilly business here. You've got a tinier spray here. And for me, this is what does it. I don't want a one-hit wonder. I want something that is going to provide a lot of interest. Here's actually a younger one. And this one actually has 3 blooms. And you can see when they're younger, there's much more yellow in the middle, which pulls this yellow frill from the white lion. Now, a couple of things going on in here. I should have kept my tulip towards the border, but look at this one. This is called Foxtrot, and it is so, oh my gosh, you guys, it is so sweet. It is very multi-petaled, very dreamy pink. And honestly, my daffs have gotten so big that I really should have put my tulip at the front of this arrangement, but you live, you learn. Okay, the next thing, and this actually was one of the first things up, and it's already kind of going over, is this hyacinth. This one is called City of Harlem. And again, what you're noticing is I am working with a ton of these creamy, barely there yellows. This is a pansy called Primrose Matrix. And then over here, this one is Primrose Picotee. And it's bringing in just like this dusting of deep violet blue. And it's blooming its stinking head off. I mean, so, so, so good. And then back in here, we've got the grass, right? This is Carrick's Feather Falls. And honestly, at this point in time, it's just acting as a way to hold a lot of these blooms more upright. And what's really fun is like when you come down here and you're going down into the cut flower garden, you get to see it from both sides and it's so cute. From this side also, what's really fun is, I don't know if you can see this in here. Let me see if I can get a better shot. This right here is my clematis, and you can see it has just reached the top of all of those sweet bulbs. Look at it right next to that daff. Is that not the sweetest thing you've ever seen? This one is going to keep growing all the way up, and so probably what you'll see me do next is change out all of the bulbs for different selections for the summer. I think I'm going to go very voluptuous here. But this clematis is one called Ragucci. I love it. At one point it was in a front container. It is going to grow big and beautiful. And I have it staked up here. This trellis is, gosh, almost 6 feet tall. So it's going to give it much better running room. I didn't have a tall enough trellis in the front container, so she didn't do her very best. But Ragucci is one that I love, and it comes in a very sweet bell shape. Okay, I lied. I'm going to show you one thing in the cut flower garden. It is my little calendula row. And would you look at this bloom? I planted this no more than a week ago, and she is so happy. This is Ivory Prince, and I am just, look at this glow. Look at this glow in the magical late day sun. I am so tickled, and it is so happy. I was really concerned that the internet was lying to me that calendula was going to become another bunny snack, and it hasn't. Instead, it has been just a #1 stunner. Look, more blooms. Look, more blooms. I still have my sweet peas going on. They are a bit on the struggle bus. They're having some transplant shock. But in the interim, I have the most incredible show of calendula that then I can pick and dry and add to my teas. That's going to do it for me today. Thank you for coming on this like end of the day, casual garden chit chat and tour of my April garden. You know, every year I feel like we're taking one step forward towards the dream garden. And I think it's really important to show these progress steps because I'm literally at this every day and my garden is not perfect. Yet I think the key to me being satisfied with my own garden is knowing that I'm out here every day and celebrating my small successes and celebrating my little wins and also being able to share it with all of you. And I just, oh man, I would love to know what is bringing you joy in your garden this month? What is that one thing that you're like, yes, I did it. Like for me, I have to say my bulb game this year, my front border is killing it. It is so good. It is so good right now. That back container, I am obsessed with it. And I've been obsessed with it for like months now. And I do mean months. And it just keeps getting better and more wild and more crazy. I mean, I just think when you can take these little steps that have such big, beautiful payoff, it just gives you that joy that brings you through the more hard season when you're facing invasives and 8,000 weeds. Okay, my friends, I'm going to see you in the next one. I hope you are having just an incredible day wherever you are, and get out there and say hello to your garden for me. Bye now.